Hey everybody, so Dune is with me today and we're here to talk to you about the Leica M6. Leica Talk.
Thank you for having me on Leica Talk
Welcome
today.
to our podcast. So I bought a Leica. I got the new Leica M6, which some people might say is crazy because you can buy a used Leica M6 and save thousands of dollars. But when do you have an opportunity to purchase a brand new iconic film camera? I've been flirting with Leica since I started photography, and I kind of always said that I wasn't going to get a Leica. They're too expensive. It's crazy, even though I secretly wanted one like we all do. And so finally, this year I turned 30, and we've been talking about the Leica. I was like, is it going to be my 30th birthday present to myself? Maybe so. And so I decided to invest in Leica. But the cool thing is Leicas hold their value and they also last a really long time. So that's kind of why we decided it was okay maybe to get a Leica, because not only are we photographers, but this is kind of like an investment that will carry through into our future and could be a generational camera, which is not true for other cameras.
Any digital camera. Yeah. Pretty much, period, right? Plus, you've been really diving into film more and more, and it felt like the necessary next step for you to really take that seriously.
So today we want to talk about the Leica and show you some example images, and we're going to talk about the photos and sort of like our thoughts about Leicas. I'll start this off by saying the Leica is fully mechanical, so I don't think I would have appreciated it as much if I wasn't where I am in my career, because it does make you work a little bit harder for the photos, and it can be kind of frustrating when you're figuring out how to load it and how to shoot it. You may shoot ghost rolls. You may just like completely open the film back without winding it, which I've done already. There is a learning curve for sure. But it does slow you down, and it is a really special experience using one.
I was talking to, I think it was Kenzie at one point, and we were talking about how it has a stronger brand quality than any other camera. She was saying especially Leicas have a sentimental value in a way that I think most camera brands don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's like, you know, like a Rolex watch or like something that like a really expensive thing that lasts forever because it's really well made, which is not as common these days. So it's like a beautiful, expensive camera, but it also lasts because of the quality, the build quality.
Yeah.
So we shot a wedding last year, and the groom had this Leica. It was an old Leica rangefinder film camera that his grandfather had owned, and he didn't really know how to use it, but he wanted some photos on film. And so I actually shot some photos at their engagement session, and they turned out like really beautifully. And that was the first time I'd ever used any sort of rangefinder camera. I like had so much anxiety about like using this camera, loading this camera. I was like, there might not be any film coming back from this camera, but they actually turned out quite well. So it was pretty cool.
I love that story, and that is another reason why I was really interested in us having a Leica.
Yeah.
Because of that, because of how meaningful it is to pass down that camera and to have it be shot at your wedding.
And we also got photos of him with the camera at his wedding. Not with the camera, but him with the camera, holding the camera. It was like kind of like an accessory, which turned out very cool.
Okay, great. Let's discuss.
All right, we're good. I have a series of images that we'll look at. We don't have to look at all of them, but let's start with like, this is like one of the first frames from the Leica. And by the way, the lens that I bought with the Leica M6 is the 50mm f2 Summicron. So Leica camera, Leica 50mm lens. So here's a photo of Dune out of the Bluffs by our house. And I'm pretty sure I shot this at f2. And I really love this photo. I mean, it's of you. It's beautiful. But like the sharpness and the color, I think I missed focus a little bit. I think the focus is kind of like on the Super 8 camera. Flies. Oh my God, yeah. Oh, I should take those out.
No, I like the flies.
But yeah, it's like kind of like on your hands more than your face.
Right.
But I don't know, it doesn't really bother me that much. And then like I love the fall off behind you, the trees and like the light and the color. This is Portra 400. It's beautiful. I just like love the rendering here of this image, and like the quality is really gorgeous.
Yeah, I completely
It's
agree.
kind of amazing that this comes from a camera that small.
I know, that's so true.
It's pretty incredible.
Okay.
Here's another one, and I just like I don't know, this one's like more of a landscape, obviously. It's slightly overexposed because I wanted it to have enough light, but I also just think that this is really beautiful. I feel like the focus is pretty good, and you get this great sense of like scale, and it's really nice too.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Cool thing about rangefinders is it's pretty easy to focus like far away. Like if you use them enough, like you can get pretty quick focus if you're focusing on something like off in the distance. So that's one cool thing about like capturing more like landscapes or environmental or like scene setting shots at weddings. Same with like if you're shooting through things. Like I knew I wanted to focus on the mountains in the back, so you can quickly find your focus and then take the picture, knowing the foreground's going to be out of focus, which sometimes is a really cool effect like this.
How is the rangefinder experience as your first rangefinder camera?
I actually really enjoy it. I thought I might hate it. So I wasn't really sure because I've never really used one, but I actually really like it because you pretty much always know like what you're doing. Like you always have control. It's like not like autofocus. The autofocus on our cameras is so good now that we can trust it, but you know, rangefinder, like you're doing the work, so you sort of know what you're doing, if that makes sense. Right. And the rangefinder is actually pretty easy to use. Another one, this is like a good example of like the lens flare that you can get from the camera. I was worried about the sun coming into the camera because I've heard about the sun burning a hole in the shutter because it's a cloth shutter. Lots of people talk about that. But what I'm finding is like that's only really a problem if you like leave your camera out in the midday sun and it's like sitting out with the lens exposed and the light is being filtered through the camera and burning a hole in your lens. But it's not really like if you're taking a picture at golden hour,
right, with the sun,
not something that you really have to worry about.
Maybe don't point it directly to the sun.
I mean, definitely be careful. I keep the lens cap on if I'm not actively shooting and it's on me because I don't want like something to happen. I'm still kind of scared of that, but I think it's not as precious as you maybe think it is.
Right.
So this is a little landscape image. Again, like really beautiful. Like the sharpness from this lens is pretty amazing. We have a few different labs represented in these images. These first few images were developed and scanned at Richard Photo Lab here in California. I've been using Richard for the past few months. I really like them. They do a great job. They are quite a bit more expensive than other labs, but I've been enjoying testing them out. So these are all scans from Richard, and we'll talk about the other lab when we get there. So here's like a photo at dusk. So I think I shot this in with a really low shutter speed because we were kind of running out of light. But again, like it's pretty great. And I think you can shoot this camera at relatively low shutter speeds without getting much camera shake because there's no mirror mechanism inside. So you can see this one's still pretty sharp.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
We don't know the exact shutter speed, though.
I don't know the exact shutter speed.
It was low.
Yeah, something low.
That's
probably not
cool.
Crazy low, but
right. That's really pretty. I thought it was really interesting when you are looking at the light meter on the inside, the way that it's made. It's like circle and then the two triangles. And so it's kind of a nice way. It's very simplified.
Read your camera manuals. It's really worth it.
I have Zach to read my camera manuals for me.
Just like sit in bed, don't read a book. Read your camera manual.
Zach is anti-book.
Yeah. Okay.
Pro camera manual.
So the arrow pointing to the right is underexposed by at least one stop. Arrow pointing to the right with the red dot is underexposed by a half of a stop. If you just see the dot, it's a correct exposure. If you see the dot and an arrow pointing to the left, it's an overexposure by half a stop. If you see the arrow pointing to the left only, it's overexposure by at least one stop.
But it could be more.
So the manual tells you this. It takes a little bit to like remember what these arrows are meaning, but once you do, it's really useful. The other cool thing is if you see that dot blinking, it means that it's way too dark to take a picture, or your lens cap is on. So that's
it will
cool. 'Cause
tell
it's a
you.
rangefinder, so you're not looking through the lens. So you wouldn't necessarily know if the cap is on. So you might shoot a whole roll and the cap was on. But I don't think all versions of the M6 have that function where it blinks. I think it's just this newer version from 2022 or certain versions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have some film from our trip to Seattle, and I really love this portrait of you. We found this really beautiful light in the backyard of the house where we were staying, and I just like it's beautiful, the greens and the light, and like it's just it's like magical.
Yeah.
This is like why I love film. Really, really beautiful photo, this one.
Yeah, the color is absolutely gorgeous.
And I did meter this with a external light meter.
Mm-hmm.
So
where did you meter for this photo?
I'm metering for the shadows, like for your skin in the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the sun like on your hair and that and whatnot looks kind of overexposed slightly, but it's because we're metering for the shadows.
Right. Cool.
Here's another example, metering for the shadows. So you can see the light on the shoe is quite bright, but there's still detail there. So it's not overexposed. We're not losing that, which is thanks to film and its ability to retain those highlight details. This is a really great shot. This got a lot of positive feedback on social media by people who like the shoes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about the shoes?
Yeah, I just got these shoes. Thank you. Yeah, I just got these shoes. We went to this amazing Seattle luxury resale store called The Refined. I saw these shoes and I've been looking for some breathable summer nice shoes for working weddings. And it's really tough because you can't have sandals. You need something that covers your toes. It goes around your ankle to make sure that you can like walk around in them all day. So I found these Manolo Blahniks that were like extremely discounted and they fit me perfectly.
Yeah, we're sort of into dressing nicely for weddings, especially if you're shooting more expensive weddings where the couple's paying a lot of money for design and decor and venue, and you as a photographer, like it's important to dress up. So this is like a great addition to the wardrobe.
You're not going to make a big fashion statement as a wedding photographer at somebody else's wedding. But something that if somebody looked at you and thought that you were a guest, you would fit right in.
Yeah. So we'll have another episode on wardrobe.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here's another version of the portrait. This is just a little bit closer so we can see how this camera and lens sort of renders a subject when it's a bit closer. So again, like we have this beautiful out of focus area in the back. Really amazing sharpness. I think maybe I'm slightly off in my focus.
Like maybe my arm is perfect.
But yeah, again, like really beautiful.
Yeah. I love the blues in the blacks of the those like what are those, like mid-tones?
Yeah.
That's really really pretty.
Gorgeous colors.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a landscape, Seattle. I loved how we sort of had this like triangle of sailboats here. I thought that was really beautiful. And then we see the whole skyline, and then of course the Space Needle off in the distance. This is shot from Gasworks Park. We went and had a beautiful dinner there.
Yeah, we went to Gasworks, and in Seattle it's so amazing, but the sunset was at like 9:00, and so it was 9:30
really
and we were still there, and it was
so
like
late. Yeah,
it was amazing, and there was probably 100 million people on the park that day.
There were a lot of people.
But we were all spotted on the hills watching this gorgeous view for sunset. It was so amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun. So here's another photo. This girl was what is this? Paddleboarding? Whatever this is. She's doing this, and it was pretty cool because you have like the sun was sort of behind us to the right. And it was reflecting off of the buildings and back to us down the water. And I sort of caught her like mid beam of light as she's paddling with the city behind her. So I really loved this. I love the blues here
it.
too, like in as they get darker, like that sort of gradient from light to dark.
Yeah, it's so
It's really
stunning.
cool.
Great one.
Here's our cousin.
This is my cousin Sadie and her husband Seth, who is basically our cousin because they've been married forever and ever.
This is us on the way to Whidbey Island. We're on the ferry. We're going there for a wedding, for her cousin's wedding, her other cousin's wedding. I love the photo because I love them, but also the filmy quality of it is so good, and like the sharpness, and it's just like so simple and kind of candid and fun.
Yeah, it's stunning.
I really love this one. These are the Mataliha poppies, which are just so beautiful. And I found this like little pocket of them. And I love the look of like direct sun on film. It's amazing. Also, I want to say like for all of these, I'm metering at box speed. So Portra 400 at 400. If anything, I'll try to overexpose it versus underexpose it. But especially for scenes like this, when we have a lot of light in the scene, I'll meter and shoot it at box speed.
I think this is a great example of an image that is more successful as film. And we don't have a digital photo of it to compare to, but I feel like if you imagine this photo on a digital camera, something about it would not be as successful. I feel like there's something about the quality of those bright whites and the interesting things that are happening in the shadows of those flowers that are specifically very good with film.
It's gorgeous in the greens and everything.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Okay, this is an example just to show you, like, this was at the welcome dinner for her cousin's wedding. This is her aunt and uncle, and it was sort of dusky, and we had like some orange coming in from the ambient lights as the sun was setting. But so again, like, I'm at a pretty slow shutter speed, probably f2, and there's like slight blur, but like we can still see that pretty well. The image holds together pretty well. So anyway, again, like casual fun kind of shot. The Leica is such a fun camera because it's so small. You just have it with you, and then you can get like shots like this that are informal but still have beautiful quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's really beautiful.
And a lot of that's thanks to the film too. So the next few are from a different lab. These are scanned by Negative Lab in LA, and the scans are quite different. Negative has a very specific look, so we can start with this one. So right off the bat, we see this like sort of warmth, this almost like yellowish tone, but not in a bad way. And there's also like this insane sharpness, which is thanks to that beautiful lens. But yeah, really interesting. And then we'll just show you a couple more here. There's some birthday portraits.
This was my
These
birthday.
we
went
again, like this is an example of this beautiful bokeh. I love how they scanned the film here.
Yeah,
these like beautiful colors. Same with this one too. A little bit further away to show you some more.
I love those.
Here's a photo of our cat. Something weird happened with this frame. And I think it was maybe I was being too rough with advancing the film, or it got stuck or something.
About the film.
As you can see up in the top left corner and up at the top of the frame, there's some tearing. But other than that, beautiful photo of Magpie, our kitty.
Yeah.
Our
so
baby.
you've had some like interesting issues with film loading and
film loading can be kind of hard. I mean, I've had a few where the film just doesn't catch, and so you think you're shooting but you're actually not shooting. That's happened to me. Sometimes the film will catch but it doesn't fully wrap around the spool, and so it'll become loose and then it'll lose its grip on the teeth, and then you just can't advance it anymore. So that's happened to me. So you just have to be really careful. It's a little bit finicky, the camera, and it takes some getting used to, for sure. I've also like completely shot an entire roll, forgotten to rewind it and open the base plate and realize, oh crap, I just exposed an entire shot roll of film to light.
I feel like you might have to share some of those too, because
maybe so.
Actually some beautiful things happened in
the good news is you
accident.
don't lose everything. You get some really fun light leaks, and you lose some of it. So, but yeah.
Oh.
So this is just more examples. Like, these are my sister's dogs in the sun. Love the colors here from Negative Lab. Like, really beautiful, sort of like minty greens almost, and like this like gorgeous like warmth to
Yeah.
the scene. I think they do a really great job with this kind of image that's like in direct light like this.
Definitely.
Here's an example. I just shot some photos for a promotional shoot at the Music Academy here in Santa Barbara on the Leica. I usually don't shoot film, but I kind of shot this just for fun. I really loved how this image came out, and I'm not really sure why it's blurry.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I must have been moving or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it was bright sun on the beach, so I don't know why my shutter speed
Right,
would have
and
been
it doesn't look like it's out of focus. It looks like it's
low.
blurry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but it sort of is beautiful.
I kind of love it that way.
Yeah, and I love the color as well.
Yeah.
This is a roll of Ektar 100, so you can see the quality is a bit different. I think I might prefer the scans of the Portra 400. I do like Ektar 100. It's slightly more saturated than the Portra, but this again was like midday, so I took out the 100 to have a little bit lower speed film. But you can see it's like more saturated in the blues and the greens here. Excuse me. Maverick's gonna join us for the last few. Here's another example. See like more saturated blues, greens, yellows here. But yeah, beautiful image. Simple.
Really pretty.
Okay,
Really
that's
pretty.
it.
Yeah. Nice. I love them.
Yeah. So basically, like my thoughts about the Leica are, a Leica is sort of like a gift to yourself and your family for years to come.
That's
If you are a photographer and you understand light and film and you know how to shoot, you know how you like developing your film, like if you're at that point in your career, I think you're ready for a Leica. You can get a Leica whenever. It's just if you get it sooner, like if you get a Leica when you haven't shot any film, if you get a film Leica when you haven't shot film before, there's just going to be an even bigger learning curve to a camera that already has a learning curve. So you might not enjoy it as much as you would if you were further along in your career and you shoot film. So, but yeah, if you want to get a Leica, you should get one.
Do you have any thoughts about the digital Leicas?
I want a digital Leica, but I don't want to spend the money on one.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of having a digital Leica. I think it's cool. I love the Leica brand now. I feel like I'm a part of it. But I think for what we do, for now, it makes more sense to just not invest in Leica digital equipment, because I don't think that Leica digital is going to be something that I'm using for our work.
Right.
So
yeah, this camera seems to be the perfect fit in your workflow right now.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We'd love to see you at the next video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Is this cute?
You gotta say bye.
Oh, bye. Bye. Oh.